Hey guys, this is my behind the scenes of Today with Pastor Jay, and I have my auntie Tanya Crawford. I call her Auntie Aunt D, and we're gonna talk about all kinds of stuff because it's Black History Month, and we're Black women. And I also have Dr. Rose White on here, and we're just gonna talk about whatever we talk about. Because guess what? It's my show.
And that's your business. You
It's
can
my
do that.
business.
It's so right.
It's my business, and it's my right. All right, Dr. Rose White. I don't really hear you that well.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe I can turn you up some. Let me see.
Can you hear? How about now?
Yeah, that's better. Okay.
Okay,
All
good.
right. So this is my behind the scenes. So we're gonna do that. Um. Good morning. Good morning. Wake up. Good morning. What a wonderful and beautiful day it is. And guess what? It is Black History Month. And you know what I say? Every month I am black, but this month I'm blackety, black, black, black. You best believe it. And there's no other way to celebrate the beginning of Black History Month than with two people that I love and adore. And that will be Dr. Rose White, very good friend of mine, and my aunt, Aunt I call her Aunt D, but her name is Tanya Crawford, but whatever. And she's like my big sister. Both of them are like my big sisters. But of course, Aunt D is the aunt to everybody. She told us all we got to fix our shirt. We got to fix everything. So thanks, ladies, for being on the show.
Thank you
Thank
for having me.
you
Thank
for
you. Good morning.
inviting me. Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just very excited because it's Black History Month. And what better way to I can't think of a better way to celebrate than to talk about Black women.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Very
so
powerful. Staples of the earth.
well, Aunt D, let's start with you because you are
Sure.
involved with so many powerful Black organizations, and you're around so many beautiful and powerful Black women.
Yes. My life's mission is advocacy. I'm a nurse by trade. I've been a nurse for 38 years. So helping people is what I've always wanted to do. As I matured, I realized there aren't as many opportunities for Black women as there are for other ethnicities. I see
Hmm.
it in the workplace. I see it in other places as well. So I wanted to get involved with organizations that I knew were about empowering and uplifting Black women. And one of the organizations that I'm involved with is the National Council for Negro Women. I'm a member of the Suffolk County section. Our president is Trisha Daly Bowles. And this organization was started by one of the pioneer greats, Mary McLeod Bethune.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
yes. I mean, we took it all the way back. I mean, talk about a great start. So, we had Mary McLeod Bethune who started this organization that she wanted to be a area where we could advocate for civil rights for Black women, social justice for Black women, and create a safe space for them. It advocates way back in 1935, it advocated for Black women to be a part of the military in World War II when we didn't have a presence there. NCNW helped to establish the Fair Employment Practices Committee in 1941, and they continue to fight for the rights of Black women. Not only was it established by Mary McLeod Bethune, but Dorothy Height,
Hmm.
another great, was the president of NCNW for more than 40 years. So we have some powerhouses that were greats from way back that helped to establish that organization. Another organization that I am proud to be a member of is the National Coalition of 100 Black Women. I am a member of the Long Island chapter, and that's an organization that was started back in someone's living room. 24 Black women got together and said, what are we going to do to make things different for Black women and girls? And they advocated to make a difference in the areas of health, education, economic empowerment, and social justice. And that organization has grown to over 64 chapters across the United States. And I am proud to be unapologetically Black and advocate in the areas of uplifting Black women and girls and helping across the country to make differences for us.
I love being who I am. And, Dr. White, you don't apologize for being a Black woman. And I can't imagine being anything other than who I am. And I would, before we started recording the show, I got to thinking about women in ministry, but
Mm.
particularly Black women in ministry. And Dr. White, I mean, you're a trailblazer. You've been in ministry for how many years now?
Oh my goodness. Actually, ever since 1982.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I started full time, went full time in 2009.
So
Full
how many times have you been told, Black lady,
Mm.
sit down, shut up. You
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
can't be in ministry.
oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah. And
oh, be
when
quiet. You can't be a preacher. Go home.
yeah, especially for me, because my background coming from your typical traditional Pentecostal church where Black
Oh
women,
yeah.
you don't do that.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Mm-mm.
don't you? Your man is supposed to be the one in control. And so it was a little bit challenging. And, for me, I didn't just wake up one day and decide to become a minister. I didn't even decide to become a Black entrepreneur in 1982, a young woman, when they're just thinking there's no such thing. All you're supposed to do is just work, get a job, and that's all you're going to do. And I definitely never expected even to be today a life coach. But, my journey, I truly believe, has been shaped by, my faith, even the challenges. And that's just a conviction that I have because especially as a black woman, you're constantly challenged that you're not to be that leader,
Mm-hmm.
you're to be that follower. And so as a black woman and in the roles in which I feel that it's but because of the Lord, not because of anything I've done, but I understand the weight of the expectations. And so I'm constantly having to prove myself and the importance of just staying true to my purpose,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of the odds of who people say you can't do, you won't do, you couldn't do. I've made a qualified decision. I'm walking despite what people say that I should do.
Right.
Amen.
I look at society today and you see Black women are still trailblazers. They're still doing, but we haven't gotten past the first Black this, first Black woman this. I mean, I have a long list of just in my own, resume of being the first Black woman to this, to this, to this. When is that important? Or do we need to just get away from that and being
Oh no,
strong?
we have to
Yeah.
continue to break that ceiling. We have
Yeah.
to continue to break those ceilings that are continue to be the first. But what's more important than being the first is not being the last. Okay. So we can be the
Right.
And that's the
first of
truth.
many things. But what we need to remember
Mhm.
is that we must turn around and pull the next one up. Right?
That's right.
Once we crack that seal door, we can't be the last. We have to build
Right.
the characters and what they need to be the next one, right? So we get this information, we get in these spaces, we get these seats at these tables, but we look around and most often we're the only face there that looks like us.
I
So we
know.
have to create more room. We have to
Mhm.
create more room for others that look like us in those spaces.
I agree. A lot of times I'm in these spaces, and there's an old saying that goes, "If you're not at the table, you're on the menu."
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I always like to be at the table. Number one, and number two, I like to be in the room. So if I can raise my hand and say, "Don't forget me," and if you don't forget me,
Mm-hmm.
you remember everyone that looked like me too. How
Mm-hmm.
important is it, Dr. White, for us to continue to be in those spaces and to continue to stand up and say, hey, yes, we're Americans, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a Black woman in
Absolutely.
America.
Absolutely. And it's something to be proud of. They sing the song, I'm proud to be an American. For me, I'm very proud to be an American, but a black woman and a female that are doing great things. And for me, a lot of times I wasn't always in a particular place. It's just like in 2009, I was one of the very first that was starting the Church Without Walls. A lot of people were calling
Mhm.
Church Without Walls, but it wasn't Church Without. They still had physical buildings. That's not a church without walls when you still got a physical building. And so, as a black female, I felt that it's so important that I step up to the plate, that I be present and accounted for. To such a degree where later others began to come. And so when they had the shutdowns, and all of a sudden, because of my presence in being there to do what I was called to do when everybody else said that's not legitimate, that's not real.
Mm,
That today we got
mm,
multitudes of people that are
mm,
having the real churches online.
Yeah,
When back in
all of a
the day,
mhm.
sudden it's a real church. But when
it's a
you
real
started
church.
it back in the day, they were
Real
making
church.
fun of
Right,
you.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
right.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk about some more of that. We got to take a break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch that dial. You are listening to Today with Pastor Jay. So, Mark, there's that song. I think it's Charlene. It goes, "Black, thank God I'm black. I won't take it back. Proud to be black." I want you to find that so I can play that somewhere along the ways. So, as I'm recording this show, guys, I'm giving instruction to Mark, who's going to take this and put it on the radio. All right,
Got
you
you.
ready? We're gonna go back. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to Today with Pastor Jay, and I have my highly esteemed guest, my auntie. And I hate to keep saying my auntie because it almost like it's downgrading you, Aunt D, because you are a
Oh
powerful
no.
black woman who
Right.
has done so
Thank
many
you.
wonderful things. You're a trailblazer in so many areas, and you stand out as one
Thank
of the most
you.
successful black women that I know in my life. And Dr. White, you as
Thank
well.
you.
So I'm proud. But let's talk about skin color and hair. I want to talk about
Okay.
hair because I can wear my hair any way I want to wear my hair because I'm a black woman. I can wear a wig today, natural
Yep.
tomorrow, another wig the next
Yep.
day. And guess what? I can be blonde, I can be red, I can be purple. It doesn't matter to me. In fact, it's almost as though society expects us to do it our way, which is anyway. What say you?
That's right.
Well, I
I
definitely got to
agree.
jump in on that because you know what? I'm a woman of many different hairstyles and colors. And, and back in the day, I had both black and white would just literally sit to say, I want to see what she gonna look like today. Well, how is her hair gonna be? What color is it gonna be? Is it gonna be long, short, curly, nappy, straight? How is it gonna be? And I believe that that's the beauty of us as women, especially women of color, black women, because the Lord has just made us so unique. And I think when we can learn how to embrace our uniqueness, how to be able to say, you know what, it's okay today. I'm feeling like going blonde. You know, they said blondes have more fun. So today I'm going blonde today.
Oh my
or if,
goodness.
Well, I
yeah,
can say one thing about our hair and the
yeah,
versatility
Uh-huh.
of it. Although we may be curly, we may be wig, we may
yeah,
be braids, we may be
yeah.
locks. What you don't do is touch a
I
black
Let's
love
don't
woman's
talk
hair.
about that. What?
What you don't do is touch a black
I'm
woman's
so
absolutely.
hair.
glad you
That's off
mentioned that
limits.
because I've had people literally want to touch my hair. I'm
Yes,
going, what's up
yes,
with the
Oh,
yes,
fascination of
yes.
touching? You don't touch a black woman's hair. Don't.
don't
That's
do
Yeah,
it.
right.
that's something you don't do.
Unless I say,
Save
yeah,
yourself.
unless I give you the permission to do that, or you're my hairdresser, that's a no-no. You don't do that.
Yeah. But we
You have
don't
to
give our
ask. People have
permission.
to ask in order to get
Yes,
permission. They're not
right.
asking. That's the point I'm trying to make. Y'all just want to run up in our hair.
That's
Don't
right.
do that.
That's right.
And I understand that we change our hair so often. You might be fascinated by today, it could be natural and this length. Tomorrow, it could be dragging behind my back at shoulder
Yeah,
length. It could be into a nice little short crop bob, but don't
that's
touch
right.
it.
That's right.
Please
That's right.
don't.
Now,
Please
do you
don't.
think the fascination is about our hair? Because I have um, several friends, all of us have friends that of other ethnicities and different skin, but they are fascinated with the hair
Yeah.
and the skin.
Oh my, and
Yes.
that's
You
the
know
thing
what
for
I say?
me.
Black don't crack
Yeah,
and brown don't frown, right?
that's right.
There you
And
go.
you know, that's the something that's so beautiful about black skin and people, women of color, people of colors. You know, my mother was the real dark, the deep black, and the most beautiful
Mhm.
black, no wrinkles, just absolutely beautiful blackness. And so when you think about it, at the end of the day, as oftentimes if many may not have wanted to be the brown or whatever, they're striving to. And you know, oftentimes a lot of women go through self-esteem issues because
Mm,
of the
Yes.
shade of their color. I
Mhm.
constantly I get emails, calls, text messages. A lot of times women that feel bad because society has made us to believe that the lighter your skin is, the more
Yes.
beautiful you are, and especially if it's more Caucasian like, or just light skin, fair skin. But when you start getting dark, now sometimes people tend to look at you and frown at you. And so I'm grateful today for even many of the Black models. When I say Black, their
Mhm.
skin are deep black, charcoal black,
Yes.
and they are now in the Essence and in the magazines of Vogue. And sometimes we even ourselves have been saying, now why in the world would they put the picture of here, this Black woman as dark as she is? But it's showing the beauty of Blackness.
And I've seen some of
The
those dark.
beauty
I mean, some of them so dark they like what we call
you
back in the day blue black.
Yeah, you can't
Blue
Remember the
black.
tell
blue
me
black?
no. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Blue
yeah.
but
My
black.
mother was
But
black
you know
like
what I
that, so
dislike?
that's why I can talk about it. My mother was that black. She was
mm,
that black skinned woman. But at the same time, it is an absolute fact that even as she passed at the age of 95, her skin was still smooth, a beautiful black skin.
Yes.
So it's
mhm,
something
Yes.
about the
Yes.
blackness. And if we can learn how to embrace, regardless of what shade we are, if we can learn to just
Mm-hmm.
embrace who we are and the shade of color that we are, because God made us, He created
he did.
us. So it's beauty in whether
Yeah. So Aunt D, um, you,
Yes. What we have to also do, and I'm going to
I
use
think
you
I
as
did.
an
uh-huh.
example. A lot of times within our own race, we look at that shade of blackness and we judge based on the shade of blackness. I don't like that we do it within
Mhm.
ourselves. I love all of my sister's daughters. You are one
I'm
of
the
them.
darkest
I
one.
found I found all my sister's daughters beautiful, but I love Thomasina and
Uh-huh.
Alvina. Geraldine was the most beautiful one and the only brown one of her six siblings. Now, getting teased. Oh, you're the dark one, or you're the brown one. Well, honey, she was the brown one, but the
And they
most
used to
beautiful.
call me creature from the Black Lagoon. I grew up with 5 siblings that were what we call high yellow. And uh-huh.
High
And
yellow.
you, Aunt D, you were the only one that, you and I share the brown skin, and my dad and grandma,
Right,
in fact, your
right,
mom. Yep.
right.
So, I mean, we
Yep,
were like, it was just a handful of us. Everybody else was just very highly.
that's
But
right.
I remember raising my kids, and my kids, of course, have all different shades of brown. I never bought them like white baby dolls and Barbie dolls. I always purchased the darker skin dolls for my children to play with because I wanted them to be proud of their skin color. And I recall
Right.
seeing, they would have the little girls and they would say the little blonde Barbie doll was prettier than the
Yeah.
dark skinned Barbie doll. We had to get out of that stuff. So I was like, forget that kind of thing. I'm gonna change this around.
That's
So
right.
I never bought white Barbie dolls. Never did.
I didn't
Mm-mm.
either. I didn't either. Not that there was anything wrong with the white Barbie dolls, but I wanted my children to embrace and appreciate our
Yes.
blackness. And I wanted them to be comfortable in seeing that there were things that looked like them, right? So they needed to see dolls that looked like them. They needed to see dolls with hair curly like
Right.
theirs that they could relate to. And that's what I wanted for my girls and my children to see,
All right.
to be proud of it.
All right. We got to take another break. Don't go anywhere, guys. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to Today with Pastor J. All right. I've got a few more minutes, I believe. When we come back in from the break, I'm going to just talk about maybe some heroes, like some people back in the day that you remember, that you love, just some Black history in the making. There's so many women that are powerful women in Black history.
Oh, I'm gonna go back to Shirley Chisholm
You
because
know
I'm gonna
I
go
want
back to that chair in the room
you listen.
because she said if they don't have a chair for you at the table, bring a folding chair.
All
Folding
right.
chair.
That's probably what I love her. She's one of my favorites too. All right, don't go anywhere. Let me get back in. Welcome back. Welcome back. I want to give a thank you and a shout out to Church on the Rock. Thank you so very much for sponsoring Today with Pastor J. So very excited to continue to be on the radio. Do you know, guys? I think this is I have to think, might be my 12th year on the radio.
Congratulations.
I think it
Congratulations.
is. I know it's been a minute. I don't even know. I've got to find out. But yeah, I've been on the radio for a good little minute now. I tell people
Wow.
that, hey, you want to be on my radio show? They automatically think it's a podcast. But no, I'm on FM and AM radio. I know people don't listen to FM and AM, but they do. A lot of
I
people
do.
still listen to radio. So let's go back and talk about some of our favorites, our favorite strong Black women from back in the day, history making Black women. So who comes to mind?
For me, it is Sojourner Truth.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yes, because being that enslaved woman, she was an abologist, but she is a preacher.
Mhm.
You know, and she spoke on faith and justice. She also spoke on women's rights. And
Yes.
so she just really comes to mind to me, you know, because her thing was she was not full of fear, but
Mhm.
she was bold. And so I look upon her as a strength, even for me, that regardless of the obstacles, you fight through to help others get through.
That's right.
Oh,
So
I love it.
yeah.
I
I like
love
that.
it. And how about you? How about you, Aunt
Well,
D?
let me tell you, I am a native New Yorker, and one of my favorites is Shirley Chisholm. We were talking
Mine
about
too.
those.
She was
We
born
were
in Brooklyn, so you
born in
know
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn's in.
Born in Brooklyn. When we were talking earlier about that seat at the table and being in those spaces, Shirley Chisholm said, "Listen, there may not be a seat for you at that table. Bring a folding chair. Create your own space at that
I
table.
love it.
Bring a folding chair." Now, side joke. We know what that folding chair represents now,
Right.
but we ain't gonna go there. But you know, she was one of the first black female congresswoman,
Mm-hmm.
and she was also the first Black woman to run for
She
president.
was.
This is a woman who, I mean, was amazing, did phenomenal things, created spaces for us,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And she did this at a time when Black women weren't even doing that. She served 7 terms in Congress, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's, I mean, 7 terms as a Black woman, being the first. She was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. And today, that Congressional Black Caucus really goes out to advocate for Black people and things for us in our communities. And that's important. And like I said, the first Black woman to run for
That's super
president.
cool.
She also got that Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015.
You know, in honor of my grandmother is my hero, just so you guys know. And I just got to see her for her birthday on January the 2nd, and that was super cool. And Auntie, while I was there with her, you know what I did the entire time? You saw me. I read to her. I
I
read
saw
to
you. You
I,
sure
I
did.
read to her.
You sure
So
did.
I
Yes,
would
you
have
did.
to say Shirley Chisholm is also one of my favorite because I was born in Brooklyn as well. But in honor of my grandmother, I'm gonna go with Maya Angelou because my grandmother
Yes.
loves poetry and she loves to read. But my
Yes.
favorite poem that I think strengthened me from Maya is Still I Rise. Because it has
Yes.
such depth to it. You know, you may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. I mean,
Yes.
the poem itself just talks about being a Black woman. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with
Mm-hmm.
gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room.
That's
I
right.
mean, I
That's
just
right.
love that poem. And she has just spoke so many wonderful things. She's been at inauguration. She's just done some great stuff. But that's one of my
Yes.
favorite poems that she has done because it just speaks to the Black woman, you know? And I'm gonna
Yes,
I'm
it
gonna pull it
does.
up. It
It does.
says, "Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance as I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history,
Mm.
shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a Black
Yes.
ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear. I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise. Come on, ladies. I
All
I
right.
rise.
rise.
I
So
rise.
it just speak to Black women still
Yes, it
because
does. It does. And we're still
we
rising. That's
are.
the thing. We're still rising. And that goes back to the point I made about once we've cracked that ceiling, once we've gotten there, we have to pull the other one
Yes,
to
we do.
rise. Help each other
That's
rise.
right.
Straighten each other's crown.
Without telling, you don't have to tell anyone. It's not
Right.
Yep.
an announcement. Just straighten the
That's right.
crown and
Come
You know
on,
encourage.
sister.
why I love being able to call women rich queen.
Yes, I
Today.
must
Yes.
admit,
Yeah.
when I call her, she goes, "Hello, rich queen."
Nice.
No, because so
Nice.
oftentimes we have not seen ourselves that way. And
Mm,
we believe that
Right.
we speak things into existence. And when someone
Oh,
can
yes.
speak that, and when you hear it enough, then it becomes a part of who you are. And once it becomes a part of who you are, then you walk that out. It manifests itself. And so I
mm.
make it a habit, even to help those in whom I minister to, the women. It's hard for them to accept that. They're like, oh. I said, no, you need to receive just who God's created you to be, and that's a queen.
That's
And so
right.
it's
That's
all in the
right.
words. If we can just learn to build each other up rather than tear one another down, and to see the greatness in each one of us. And I think all of these women of old, even I think about when y'all talking about even with civil rights, I
Mm-hmm.
look at women like Harriet Tubman, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
it's all about helping to set people free.
I
And that's
know.
where we are
Yes.
people, if we can learn to help set people free and whatever that they may be in, because there's a lot of slavery today, not
Hmm.
necessarily in certain, but in the aspects of mind. People are in bondage in their mind. They're in bondage of can't get from one place to the next place because of mindsets. So we can just learn how to speak things
Right.
in people's life and help them to be set free. So that's why I'm enjoying this, that Pastor Geraldine has to look at even women of old, the things that they've done because they
They
impact us.
have. They have.
And we can't forget where we've come from, and we can't forget the impacts that they've made. It's their
Right.
shoulders upon which we
Mhm.
stand. And we have to keep that in mind at all times. We didn't just get here, we didn't just
Right.
arrive. It's because of what they've done. They've gone before us, and we have to continue to go behind them, doing what they've done. We can't let it be in vain, all the work that
Well,
they've
you know
put
what?
in. I mean, just next week, I'll be on Capitol Hill with the Suffolk County Black Nurses
Wonderful.
Association, talking to our legislators, our congressmen and women, our senators about advocating for equity and health for
You
Black
know,
people.
that's a
So we have to
whole nother
always work.
topic,
Don't know.
especially about Black women. There's been a maternal health crisis
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Black women.
Yes,
But you know what? That's another topic we definitely need
Yeah.
to talk about. Because
Yes.
it's been, there's nothing wrong with you, Black lady, because they think we're tough, because we are tough, right?
gaslighting
You
you,
know,
gaslighting
oh,
us.
that's a whole nother topic, but
Well, you
we're
know
gonna
what?
talk
I'm
about
glad
that.
you said, because my thing is, I think oftentimes even the Bible says that the older women should teach the younger women. And the older we get, and for
Yes,
me, myself, now in my 60s, I feel so much compelled to speak to younger women, through my own life's experiences and help them to come up to higher places. And while I'm helping to build them up, I'm going higher. And so it's so important if we can be able to deal with those particular issues, which is a issue all by itself that we
It's a
talk about.
whole that's something we're gonna talk about, guys.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this another time. I want to thank you so much. Our time has elapsed, and we're talking about Black History Month and being Black women, and you talked about being free. But you
Yeah.
know what? There's only one freedom.
Yes.
To whom the sun sets free is free
free. It's
indeed.
free
All right, guys,
indeed.
you know what I say? Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not promised. What are you going to do today? Today, you're going to turn your life over to Jesus Christ, because there's no freedom
That's
except knowing Him. God
right.
bless you. Have a wonderful day.
That's right.
I rise.
I rise.
That was pretty good. Thanks, guys.
You're
All
welcome.
right.
Oh, thank
But yeah, we
you.
definitely need to talk about the
Girl, Women's History Month is
That's
down the line.
That's right.
April.
Yes, we'll
April.
do that. We'll definitely do that. All right.
April.
God bless you guys. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
Bye, Dr. White. Look forward to meeting you.